When the Holy One, blessed be He, removed from me the generation of the flood, He bore me up on the stormy wings of the Shekinah to the highest heaven, and brought me into the great palaces, in the height of the heaven of Arabat, where the glorious throne of the Shekinah is found, and the chariot, the cohorts of wrath, the hosts of fury, the fiery Sinanim, the blazing cherubim, the smoldering Ophanim, the ministers of fire, the lightning Hasmalim, and the flashing seraphim. He stationed me there to serve the throne of glory day by day. Before the Holy One, blessed be He, set me to serve the throne of glory. He opened for me 300,000 gates of understanding, 300,000 gates of prudence, 300,000 gates of life, 300,000 gates of grace and favor, 300,000 gates of love, 300,000 gates of Torah, 300,000 gates of humility, 300,000 gates of sustenance, 300,000 gates of mercy, 300,000 gates of reverence. Then the Holy One, blessed be He, bestowed upon me wisdom, heaped upon wisdom, understanding upon understanding, prudence upon prudence, knowledge upon knowledge, mercy upon mercy, Torah upon Torah, love upon love, grace upon grace, beauty upon beauty, humility upon humility, might upon might, strength upon strength, power upon power, splendor upon splendor, loveliness upon loveliness, comeliness upon comeliness. And I was honored and adorned with all these excellent, praiseworthy qualities more than all the denizens of the heights. In addition of all these qualities, the Holy One, blessed be He, laid His hand on me and blessed me with 1,365,000 blessings. I was enlarged and increased in size till I matched the world in length and breadth. He made to grow on me 72 wings, 36 on one side and 36 on the other, and each single wing covered the entire world. He fixed me in 365,000 eyes, and each eye was like the great light, and there was no sort of splendor, brilliance, brightness, or beauty in the luminaries of this world that He failed to fix in me. After all this, the Holy One, blessed be He, made for me a throne like the throne of glory, and He spread over it a coverlet of splendor, brilliance, brightness, beauty, loveliness, and grace, like the coverlet of the throne of glory, in which all the varied splendor of the luminaries that are in the world is set. He placed it at the door of the seventh palace, and sat me upon it. And the herald went out into every heaven, and announced concerning me, I have appointed Metatron, my servant, as a prince and ruler over all the denizens of the heights, apart from the 8 great, honored, and terrible places, who are called Yahweh by the name of their king. Any angel and any prince who has anything to say in my presence should go before him and speak to him. Whatever he says to you in my name you must observe and do, because I have committed to him the Prince of Wisdom and the Prince of Understanding, to teach him the wisdom of those above and those below, the wisdom of this world and of the world to come. Moreover, I have put him in charge of all the stores of the palaces of Arabat, and all the treasuries that are in the heavenly heights. The Holy One, blessed be He, revealed to me from the time onward all the mysteries of wisdom, all the depths of the perfect Torah, and all the thoughts of men's heart. All the mysteries of the world and all the orders of nature stand revealed before me as they stand revealed before the Creator. From that time onward I looked and beheld deep secrets and wonderful mysteries. Before a man thinks in secret, I see his thought. Before he acts, I see his act. There is nothing in heaven above, or deep within the earth, concealed from me. Out of the love which He had for me, more than for all the denizens of the heights, the Holy One, blessed be He, fashioned for me a majestic robe in which all kinds of luminaries were set, and He clothed me in it. He fashioned for me a glorious cloak in which brightness, brilliance, splendor, and luster of every kind were fixed, and He wrapped me in it. He fashioned for me a kingly crown in which 49 refulgent stones were placed, each like the sun's orb, and its brilliance shone into the 4 quarters of the heaven of Arabat, into the 7 heavens, and into the 4 quarters of the world. He set it upon my head, and He called me the lesser Yahweh, in the presence of His whole household in the height, as it is written, My name is in Him. Out of the abundant love and great compassion wherewith the Holy One, blessed be He, loved and cherished me more than all the denizens of the heights, He wrote with His finger as with a pen of flame upon the crown which was on my head, the letters by which heaven and earth were created, the letters by which seas and rivers were created, the letters by which mountains and hills were created, the letters by which stars and constellations, lightning and wind, thunder and thunderclaps, snow and hail, hurricane and tempest were created, the letters by which all the necessities of the world and all the orders of creation were created. Each letter flashed time after time like lightnings, time after time like torches, time after time like flames, time after time like the rising of the sun, moon, and stars. When the Holy One, blessed be He, placed His crown upon my head, all the princes of kingdoms who were in the height of the heaven of Arabat, and all the legions of every heaven trembled at me, even the princes of the Elim, and the princes of Erolim, and the princes of the Tapsarim, who are greater than all the ministering angels that serve before the throne of glory, trembled and shrank from me when they saw me. Even Samael, the prince of the accusers, who is greater than all the princes of kingdoms that are in the height, was afraid and shuddered at me. Even the angel of fire, the angel of hail, the angel of wind, the angel of lightning, the angel of whirlwind, the angel of thunder, the angel of snow, the angel of rain, the angel of day, the angel of night, the angel of the sun, the angel of the moon, the angel of the stars, the angel of the constellations, who guide the world by their direction, trembled and shrank back in alarm from me when they saw me. These are the names of the princes who guide the worlds: Gabriel, the angel of fire; Baradiel, the angel of hail; Ruhuiel, who is in charge of wind; Barakiel, who is in charge of lightning; Zaamiel, who is in charge of whirlwind; Zikiel, who is in charge of comets; Zeiel, who is in charge of tremors; Zaapeel, who is in charge of hurricane; Raamiel, who is in charge of thunder; Raasiel, who is in charge of earthquakes; Salgiel, who is in charge of snow; Matariel, who is in charge of rain; Simsiel, who is in charge of day; Laeliel, who is in charge of night; Galgaliel, who is in charge of the orb of the sun; Opaniel, who is in charge of the disk of the moon; Kokabiel, who is in charge of the stars; Rahatiel, who is in charge of the constellations. They all fell prostrate when they saw me, and could not look at me because of the majesty, splendor, beauty, brightness, brilliance, and radiance of the glorious crown which was on my head. When the Holy One, blessed be He, took me to serve the throne of glory, the wheels of the chariot and all the needs of the Shekinah, at once my flesh turned to flame, my sinews to blazing fire, my bones to juniper coals, my eyelashes to lightning flashes, my eyeballs to fiery torches, the hairs of my head to hot flames, all my limbs to wings of burning fire, and the substance of my body to blazing fire. On my right side those who cleave flames of fire, on my left burning brands. Round about me swept wind, tempest, and storm. The roar of the earthquake upon earthquake was before and behind me. At first I sat upon the great throne at the door of the seventh palace, and I judged all the denizens of the heights on the authority of the Holy One, blessed be He. I assigned greatness, royalty, rank, sovereignty, glory, praise, diadem, crown, and honor to all the princes of kingdoms. When I sat in the heavenly court, the princes of kingdoms stood beside me, to my right and to my left, by authority of the Holy One, blessed be He. But when Ahir came to behold the vision of the chariot and set eyes upon me, he was afraid and trembled before me. His soul was alarmed to the point of leaving him because of his fear, dread, and terror of me. When he saw me seated upon a throne like the king, with ministering angels standing beside me as servants, and all the princes of kingdoms crowned with crowns surrounding me, then he opened his mouth and said, "There are indeed two powers in heaven." Immediately a divine voice came out from the presence of the Shekinah and said, "Come back to me, apostate sons, apart from Ahir." Then Anapiel, Yahweh, the honored, glorified, beloved, wonderful, terrible, and dreadful Prince, came at the command of the Holy One, blessed be He, and struck me with 60 lashes of fire, and made me stand to my feet. There are 7 great, beautiful, wonderful, and honored princes who are in charge of the 7 heavens. They are Michael, Gabriel, Satkael, Sahakael, Baradiel, Barakiel, and Sidriel. Each of them is a prince over a heavenly host, and every one of them is attended to by 496,000 myriads of ministering angels.